we've been asking the wrong questions. Men have been asking, why are women's standards so through the roof? And women are asking, where have all the good men gone? Both sides are frustrated, and both sides blame the other. But what if both sides are simply responding rationally to the same incentives? Today, we aren't discussing who's right. We're discussing reality. Because if you misunderstand the battlefield, you're choosing the wrong strategy. So what has happened? Well, the world changed. I hate to break that to you, but it's different now than it used to be. I mean, for most of history, marriage wasn't optional. Family, religion, economics, culture, all pointed toward marriage of some sort. Today, the incentives are different. Women have greater educational opportunity. I mean, there are just more degrees and things for them to do, given to them by technology. They have greater independence than they've ever had. They have greater choice than they've ever had. And when incentives change, behavior necessarily changes. So now I'm probably going to say something you don't like. And that's, you got to stop being angry with reality. The situation is as the situation is. So the question is, what are you going to do with it? So, and you need to understand something. So if you're asking why women won't choose you, why they're being selective, why they only want the top 20%, the question is, better is, why shouldn't they be? But women have always been selective. And they've always had some ability to select, or their families have selected for them in some way or another. So historically, families help make this choice. This is something that was done for them. And today, women make it more themselves. So the mechanisms have changed, over the years, where it was by church, whether it was by club, and then by dating app. The principles didn't really change, though. And so you should just stop expecting women to act irrationally and choose a man they have no knowledge about, that doesn't look good to them, which is what we're finding, that 95% of men are not attractive to the average woman. I mean, doesn't this just make sense? We have women that don't need men because society has made it as such. And so they only want men. So if they only want men, they want the dream man. So guys, stop expecting women to behave contrary to the incentives before them. It's as simple as that. So we've been arguing about, how do we change women? How do we make them more likely to choose men that we have today? And how to have society not put down on men, and how women seem to do this. This is the anger that is existing. What if the problem isn't that we're not getting the right conclusions, which we're not, but it's because we're starting from the wrong premise? So what if your premise is wrong? If it's wrong, then your strategy will be wrong. And this is the whole aspect of what's going on with the red pill. They're trying to look at reality. The problem is they're also removing God from it, and they are saying that you're being put upon, and that this is how you, in a way, trick women into liking you. Well, that's not what you need to do either. So there is some real aspects that you need to employ, and we need to look at what the real premise is. Alright guys, if that wasn't bad enough, here comes the uncomfortable part. Many men act as though they're victims of a system that appeared by magic. It didn't. Civilizations are built, laws are enforced, property is protected, borders are defended, institutions are maintained. Even if they go the way of the dodo or are seemingly falling apart, they got here from people who built it, and they're allowed to decline by people who are in control of it. So early civilization, all civilizations, rests on an enforcement layer. So what is this saying? Whether you agree with forced doctrine or not, here's the implication. Men cannot simultaneously say, we built this civilization, and we are powerless. Both cannot be true. Responsibility is not accepting blame for everything. Responsibility is accepting ownership of what comes next. So in light of all this, I need you to stop waiting. The dating market isn't random. It's just responding to incentives. Women respond to incentives. Men respond to incentives. Entire civilizations respond to incentives. If you keep waiting for the incentives to change, you will just wait your entire life. All right, guys, we have finally arrived at the practical question, or the practical questions. So what should a man do? What should a Christian man do? There are really only three choices. You can improve, become more disciplined, more capable, more useful. You can expand your market. Historically, men did move. Abraham moved, Jacob moved, Paul crossed an empire, though he wasn't married. Even Ruth, as it were, entered into the Israel dating market where she found Boaz. So men have always gone where opportunity existed and took advantage of opportunity that arrived. But the last choice, if you don't want those other two, is to accept singleness. Not bitterness. You don't have the right to be bitter or resentful if you choose singleness. That must be a deliberate calling. There is no fourth option. So now I got to get something into your head, and that is that you have the ability to change the outcome. All right? The Marines have a simple motto. It's called adapt and overcome. So the battlefield changes, you adapt and overcome. The mission changes, you adapt and overcome. The weather changes, you adapt and overcome. The enemy changes plans, you adapt and overcome. So perhaps society changed. So what are you going to do about it, men? Now what? It's fine. You adapt and you overcome. Will you spend 20 years just complaining about it? Or will you build? That's the question. Are you going to do what it takes to either change your environment, change yourself, or change where you're picking your choices for your selection of a woman to create a family with? So will you adapt? Will you move to where you're capable of getting what you need, finding the right kind of woman? Because history belongs to builders, guys, not complainers. This is why we begin our marriage series here. Marriage isn't built on men who complain. Marriage is built on men who move. Next week, the next weeks after that, we'll begin developing the reasons and what it is and how you protect yourself in life for marriage. So next week is why. Why does marriage exist? Gentlemen, we want you on a godly path. We want you first with a relationship with Christ, then a relationship with the people of Christ, and part of that relationship is with a woman of Christ fulfilling the first mission that God gave. And should you accept that mission, our goal is to give you the tools and the game plan to overcome this obstacle.